Good morning, everyone. At the end of this week's Torah portion, the Jewish people just were liberated from Egypt. They crossed the Red Sea. They sing a song of praise to God. And along comes an enemy by the name of Amalek and attacks the Jewish people and attacks those Jews who were in the rear, who were weak and vulnerable and straggling behind. And Moshe Rabbeinu is commanded by God to instruct the Jewish people to go out and wage war against Amalek. And Moses goes up onto the mountaintop, raises his hands in prayer as a battle cry as the Jewish people defeat Amalek. And after the Jewish people defeat Amalek, God says, remember to always destroy and wipe out the memory of Amalek from the face of the earth. Because in every generation there will be a war against God and against the Jewish people, which is the battle against Amalek, the arch enemy of the Jewish people. And indeed, in every generation, there have been descendants of Amalek, whether it was Haman in the story of Purim, or Hitler in our most recent generation, or Iran today, that like Amalek, their ancestor seeks to destroy, God forbid, and annihilate the Jewish people. Here the Jews were vulnerable. They just left Egypt. They were weak and weary, having just survived slavery. And Amalek tries to destroy us. And our rabbis explain, why does Amalek have to be destroyed? So our rabbis explain, because there are two types of love in the world. There's conditional love and unconditional love. When there's conditional love, our rabbis say, it's temporary love, because once the condition is no longer there, the love no longer lasts. If you love someone for a reason, when that reason is gone, the love is gone. But when you love someone unconditionally, that's eternal love. And just like there's conditional and unconditional love, there's conditional and unconditional hatred. Sometimes someone hates someone for a reason, but then you could remove the reason, reconcile, make peace, and remove the hatred. But when the hatred is without reason, it's irrational, it's just unconditional hatred. No matter what you do, you can't remove the hatred. And therefore the only option is, like with Amalek, to destroy Amalek. In 1917, there was a girl born in Poland. Her name was Francesca Mann. And she became a great dancer, ballet dancer. She competed at the age of 22 in 1939 in Brussels in a dancing competition and won 4th place. And she was renowned throughout Poland. She performed in theaters and on stages all over and in clubs, and she was very renowned. 1939 arrived. World War II broke out, and Francesca Mann was sent to Bergen-Belsen. And then, a few years later, she was sent to Auschwitz in 1942 at the age of 26. And all the women were taken to the gas chambers. When they came to the gas chambers, they were told to undress, to disrobe. And they understood that this was not a shower, this was a gas chamber. And Francesca Mann, who was a famous dancer, began to dance in a very seductive form and method in front of the Nazi officers. And they at first were very delighted. And she began to dance and lift her skirt and her blouse. And as they were smiling, she leaned back on a beam to remove her boot as she danced from side to side. And suddenly she took off her boot and threw it at the Nazi standing in front of her, whose name was Joseph Schillinger, striking him in the face, and he began to bleed. And then in that moment of confusion, she ran, grabbed the gun from Joseph Schillinger and shot him dead. Chaos broke out, all the other women joined in, and they started to fight with the Nazis. The head of the camp, who was Rudolf Hess, was called with other Nazis. They immediately shot and killed all the women, but not before Joseph Schillinger was murdered, and many other Nazis were wounded and sent to the hospital. In 2019, 80 years after this, the World War II broke out, the Jerusalem Symphony, Jerusalem Ballet, put on a performance in Jerusalem dedicated to Francesca Mann, and the name of the ballet was Francesca Mann, Her Last Dance in Auschwitz. Francesca Mann knew that her time had come, that the Nazis were going to murder her, But she said, I will not die the way they want me to die. I will die fighting against Amalek in our generation. And I will not leave this world until I eliminate at least one evildoer from this world, one descendant of Amalek. Unfortunately, this is a war we have to fight in every generation. When we can reconcile and make peace, of course, that is what we want more than anything else. But when we have no alternative, because it's unconditional hate, the only option is to destroy it. Have a wonderful day.